What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film breakdown, and today we're going to be taking a look at young Chicago Bears linebacker Roquan Smith. And I watched a decent amount of Roquan Smith college film when he was out at Georgia. Phenomenal young player, has incredible speed, moves sideline to sideline, great nose for the football. All things that we saw in his rookie year and a little bit in his second year in the NFL. There are some things that Roquan Smith needs to work on, though, that I definitely want to highlight in this video. But ultimately, Roquan Smith reminds me of the guy out in Seattle, Bobby Wagner, who I believe is the best linebacker in the league currently. A lot of similarities in my eyes, I think, in coverage ability and in run-stopping ability, being gap sound. Just a lot of things that Roquan Smith does really, really well that I want to get into in this video. Now, before I do that, if you could go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to the Hook Cam, my channel, as well as to Jackson Krieger Sports. That would just mean the world to both of us. Now, with all that being said, let's dive into a little bit of Roquan Smith film. And I got a story for everybody. When I was a young buck playing Pop Warner, played offensive line my entire life. In my last year, our linebacker got injured, and they moved me to linebacker, and it was the most fun I have ever had in my life playing football. Nobody right in front of you. You got the freedom to roam around. And so I've been addicted to watching great linebackers ever since then. And Roquan Smith has the ability to be that in my eyes. And, you know, starting things off with this first play against the Packers, this is just a great play from him, right? Now, the Packers, you know, we're trying to reach here. We're really trying to work this combo between play side guard and tackle up to 59. Great job from our nose tackle staying on that play side of that center. Roquan Smith, and then just cherry on top of this whole thing. We're shooting that gap, coming upfield, making a play in the backfield. All things you love to see. First play of the game, first play of the season for Roquan Smith. And then he follows it up by sniffing out this screen. Back-to-back plays that really highlight where his speed is, where his nose for the football is. Great job working inside out on that tackle as well. All really, really good things, all really, really good signs from Roquan Smith. And he continued that throughout last season, and he did have a little bit of an injury bug, had a little bit of a hiccup here and there, but, you know, this, again, is just one of the things that I absolutely love from Roquan Smith, just that ability to shoot a gap, right? And we'll see some instances where he over-pursues a little bit, and that hurts him, or he hesitates, you know, and I saw some clips from this last year where he seemed to be hesitating in a gap, and it was weird for me looking back at this Packers game, right, where once again, the Packers are trying to work that wide zone. Now, ideally, this combo for these two guys is going to work up to Roquan Smith, but he does a great job firing in backside gap, working inside out, and making a play on that ball carrier. And again, I do want to give credit to 99 Aaron Lynch here. Really good job of securing that edge in order for Roquan Smith to come up and make a play, because if we don't, that running back can bounce it, and he's off to the races. Now, this game against the Broncos, really good job from him here. What the Broncos are running is essentially like a G scheme. We're working down here, we're cutting right there, working up to this backer with our tight end, working out right here with our other tight end, and our guard is going to work to kick out 99. Now, Roquan Smith kills this play, and we got to be honest about that. Does a good job of working over the top here. I think tight end probably is a little bit too skinny. Tough block to do, let me tell you that much. But what I love about this is the pursuit. Philip Lindsay, very fast running back. He works inside out on that thing, strings it out. Good play for a gain of what looks to be about 2 yards. Now, here is where we get into a little bit of the criticism for Roquan Smith. And again, I don't mean this to sound like Roquan Smith's about. No, that's not what I'm saying. Roquan Smith is a stud. He's an athletic freak, but there are some things I think he can do better at. And this is an example. Now, let me show you guys what's going on here before we dive too far in. We're just getting a really simple inside zone with a wham out of the Raiders. The left tackle and left guard are working up to this Mike linebacker. My center and right guard's going to work out onto that 3-tech center. Is going to check this gap and then work up to this play side linebacker. Now, I want everybody to watch the steps of these two cats off the snap of the ball. Boom, they're stepping upfield and upfield, right? Roquan Smith off the snap, he's going to step sidelines. He's going to step horizontal. Now, that's going to put him off just a little bit when coming into this gap and making a play. And I think it's something that comes with, you know, more experience. If he's a seasoned vet, I think that he's screaming downhill right now, sticking his nose into this gap and making a play. But as we see a down block right here, Roquan Smith ideally is filling into that gap in case of this wham or in case of a puller, right? That's his job, really, is to fire off right off the heels of this offensive lineman, come into a gap and make a play. Now, that little hesitation allows for that ball carrier to get a couple of yardage, and we see this time and time again. Not a ton. I don't want to make it sound like it's an every game thing, but it does happen a frequent amount. And I think that's one small thing that Roquan Smith can fix, and we'll show you some Bobby Wagner tape a little bit later of what Bobby Wagner does in those certain situations. Now, in this play right here from the Broncos, we're going to get a double team with this guard and tackle. They're going to be working up to Roquan Smith as they're pulling around here with their guard, working out. Looks to me like it's power from the Broncos, and they try and stretch this thing out and then work upfield. Kind of a cool little play. I like how you get the linebackers both moving out here. But what I noticed from Roquan Smith is that we're a little too hesitant with getting upfield on this, right? We see that guard pull, and again, it depends on what linebackers are reading. I think he's reading the guard in this situation because of how fast he's flying over the top. Boom, right there. Now we're working over the top. But we can't just, we can continue to scrape, and that's fine, but we have to understand that usually as a linebacker, we're filling with one and we're scraping over the top with the other. And I think Roquan Smith is just a little too hesitant. He's a little too far in the backfield to be just kind of lightly scraping, and then when we do make contact, we're almost surprised by it and getting pushed back. Now, I think that a seasoned vet and somebody who's been in the league a little bit is going to put a shoulder pad. He's going to come right downhill, put a shoulder pad right there, and try and squeeze that gap as much as possible, which isn't what happens. So again, you just kind of see the growing pains of this young buck in the NFL and what he can do. And here's another example of that, right? We talk about a defense being gap sound. I think this is a great example. Okay, in this front that we have here from the Bears, Khalil Mack's going to be responsible for that C gap. Akeem Hicks is going to be responsible for that B gap. Now this A gap right here, that's going to be Roquan Smith, who's coming in to fill that. Now he hesitates a little bit on this, and this is where it's concerning a little bit. Usually you would want to see your linebacker filling right now. Right now, I know I just paused and started the clip, and it's only a fraction of a second in, but still, we're going to be stepping upfield, right? We can see Danny Trevathan, 59, his steps off the bat are upfield, right? Roquan Smith is a little bit staggered. He's a little bit behind. Ideally, I would imagine you would want to see him fill in this gap right now, working upfield to come and make a play on it, and trying to obviously contain that running back from getting upfield before he gets those yardage. Now, one thing that I think Roquan Smith does really well, and this is, again, a tribute to the really good edge players that Chicago has. Khalil Mack's just going to blow this thing up. He does a good job of sniffing out the mess here. Boom, right? Coming off the backside of this down block right there, coming up to make a play, a lot like what we would have wanted to see in that game against the Raiders. Now, I will say that this game against the Bears is a little bit later into the season, so hopefully he matured a little bit. Hopefully we're learning. Now, this is one of my favorite plays from Roquan Smith, right? All that we're going to get here is a really simple ISO from the Lions. This fullback, obviously we're isolating 58. We got to come up, make a play on this thing, get a good block in there, but Roquan Smith, we're filling right now. And this is just great film from a linebacker coming in, lowering that shoulder, working inside out on that thing, having our helmet to the play side of where this ball's going, coming off and making a play. Phenomenal job from Roquan Smith. And there's a lot of positives in Roquan Smith's game, and that's why I have such high praise for him and I have such a high potential for this guy, because I do see little glimpses of a Bobby Wagner in there. Right now, in this play against the Bengals, I think that we're missing a backside combo here from the Bengals. But again, just watch the difference between how Bobby Wagner, right now, we're floating a little bit, and I was going to say how Bobby Wagner pursues as opposed to Roquan Smith. Yeah, we're floating a little bit, but that's because we had that fly motion, and we're waiting to see where that ball's getting handed off. But as soon as that thing's going, we're downhill right now. We're coming up to make a play, and I think that when we see Roquan Smith, we see a little bit of hesitation that isn't there with a guy like Wagner. Now, again, it's fair to say Bobby Wagner's been in the league for, I believe, 7 or 9 years now. But you can see just the veteran, right, the experience, how much of a factor that plays. And I think that we're going to see that with Roquan Smith. Now, in this example right here, what we're getting from the Saints is we're getting a wide zone look, right? And something that I love about Bobby Wagner in this situation is he does a good job of not over-pursuing, which is exactly what you want when you run wide zone. You want this backer to pop over the top and then decrease this thing. Or if you're staying too close backside, you pop it over the top, right? But this is a great job from Bobby Wagner putting the brakes on, coming back and making a play on this. And it's something that we kind of saw Roquan Smith struggle with a little bit, right? I think that in sometimes he does hesitate a little bit too much, like we saw in that play against the Broncos. Yes, it's a different scheme, but at the same time, we saw him hesitate with that block coming upfield. And I think it's just something that he could work on, something he can be a little bit better on, right? Bobby Wagner, we can see, puts the brakes on, comes back to make a play on that thing. Now, this is a really good play from Wagner. Once again, again, we're just talking about a defense being gap sound and him just working inside out on this, right? Boom, we're supposed to be in this gap, but if that back shows like he's gonna fire into this A gap and try and make a play, then you got to come up and fill. Good job from Wagner just scraping over the top, but I know that this is a goal line play, but one of the things that I consistently saw with Roquan Smith is almost like a step sideways instead of a step forward. Look at where Bobby Wagner takes a step first, right? We're still trying to eat up yardage, right? We're trying to come downhill on it. I saw a little bit too much of Roquan Smith chasing almost laterally in that sense. So once again, and this is kind of one of the things when you make videos like this, I'm not saying this because I think Roquan Smith is bad. I think Roquan Smith is going to be an excellent linebacker in the NFL. I already think that he's probably in the better half of that category, so I think that he's just going to continue to get better. But with all that being said, guys, that's all I got for this film breakdown today. Yes, I do think Roquan Smith has that high of a ceiling. I'm not just here blowing smoke. But with all that being said, guys, that's all I'm going to have. If you did enjoy this video, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to my channel, The Hook Cam, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports, that would mean the world to just both of us. That's all I got for you guys today. Stay safe out there. Wash those hands. I'm sure there'll be more news coming down the pipe soon. So that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you next time.